Hey guys, Sonic Smashbro here, and after making the decision to potentially retire from Duel Links after having just reported the Synchron profile, possibly for the last time, I got around to thinking about something. So, it's clear as day, Konami really does not seem to like Yusei. They seem to honestly hate Yusei. And you can tell by the way his skills are designed compared to so many other characters. We have skills that just basically guarantee consistency while also offering board breaks going second for free, offering so much for free that's just generating advantage off of being able to play cards you otherwise can't play, in the case of Dragonic Contact on that one. One card combos that are way too consistent. Meanwhile, you compare that to the stuff Yusei gets, and while Stardust Acceleration, yes, was really good, most of his skills are somewhat restrictive and or still have to play the game. You can really tell that by comparison to the likes of the DM and GX cast, for example, or recently Utopia with the Zexal2 Power of the Future skill, Yusei always gets the short end of the stick. But that begs the question, how would I buff each one of Yusei's relevant skills to where he can actually potentially do something with them again? Now, some of these will be to mixed results, as Shooting Star Road is very outdated, for example, but let's take a look at all of his skills and figure out exactly how I would fix them. Or at least give them some help. Starting with the original, the Shooting Star Road. So the skill reads as follows. At the beginning of a duel, place one junk converter in your graveyard. In addition, if you control Stardust Dragon, play Formula Synchron to the field from outside of your deck. Then you can place Turbo Synchron, Nitro Synchron, and Hyper Synchron on top of your deck from outside of your deck. You can only special summon Wind Dragon type Synchro monsters or Warrior Synchro monsters until the end of your opponent's next turn. Apply to the turn you activate this skill. This skill can only be used once per duel if you begin the duel with a deck that follows the conditions below. The main deck must contain at least 8 in combination of Junk or Synchron monsters, and the extra deck must contain at least a Shooting Star Dragon, and at least 4 in combination of Junk, Synchron, or Stardust monsters. So, this is incredibly outdated for so many reasons. It just auto-loses the DD Crow, for example. So, let's start with the obvious. At the start of your first turn, place one Junk Converter in your graveyard. In addition, if you control Stardust Dragon, blah blah blah, same thing. But the main thing I'm buffing is loosening up the deck restrictions, now needing to contain at least 7 in combination of Junk or Synchron monsters. Now as for the extra deck, I'm okay with the restriction number, but why would it require Synchron monsters? You're not going to play Formula Synchron in here, you're playing it from outside of the deck anyway. What else do we have for that? Excel Synchron? That's not going to help, it's a tuner. So, it should be at least 4 Junk, Warrior, or Stardust monsters. That would make a lot more sense. Would also open up the extra deck a little bit more, as tight as it kind of is. Anyway, moving right along, up next we have A Bond Illuminates the Future. This skill aged horribly. It's aged like milk. Arguably sour milk, but it's still way better than Shooting Star Road Tech Genius Expansion, I'll give it that. So, each of the following effects of the skill can only be used once per duel, and you can change the position of set cards set by the skill. First effect, send the Synchron or a level 2 Wind Warrior monster with 1000 less attack from hand to grave. Add a Synchron from deck to hand and set Synchro Chase from outside of a deck. You pretty much know what Synchro Chase does by now. The opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to the effect activations of your Synchro monsters with Warrior, Synchron, or Stardust in the original names. And once per turn, if you Synchro summon a Synchro monster born in those names, you can bring back one of its materials in defense mode. Simple, but very effective. Second effect. Send all monsters you control to the graveyards. If their total combined original attack points is 2500 or more, set 2 random Siren Dragons with different names from outside of your deck. So this can bring out RDA, Black Rose, Ancient Fairy, Black Wing. Basic stuff. And finally, turn 3 onward, return a Stardust Dragon from field or graveyard to the extra deck and change the level of all Synchro monsters you currently control to level 2, and set Lifestream Dragon from outside of the deck. This skill can only be used if you begin a duel with an extra deck that contains a level 10 or higher light monster, and no monsters other than Synchro monsters, and a main deck with at least 7 level 2 or lower warrior type and machine type monsters. So, this skill aged horribly, as I mentioned. So, the first effect, I'm actually okay with. It's very simple, very effective, does what it needs to do, and does it well. The second effect is also just what I'm starting to buff. Second effect and on is what I'm buffing here, because these are bad. Send all monsters you control to the graveyards of the total combined original attack minus 2500 or more. Play 2 Signer Dragons with different names out of the 4 from outside of your deck. No longer are they face down, and you get to choose which ones they are. Who cares that we're going to be, like, playing these things? They're not coming up too often anyway. Furthermore, turn 3 and onward to return Stardust Dragon from field right to the extra deck. Let's get rid of that time restriction altogether, because it's like, who cares about a turn 1 not unaffected Quasar at this point? There's plenty of ways to get through that. And also, just playing the Livestream Dragon at this point, because again, who cares? Like, being able to just make a Quasar before they have a chance to respond, normally they would have responded to your combo by then and blocked your normal summon by then. So, what does it matter? The deck restrictions I'm fine with. I just really wish we had room for Shooting Star Dragon, like say if we return Stardust Dragon, we can also add Shooting Star Dragon to the extra deck. That would have been really nice, but what can you do? You have a skill age, but it's definitely way better than Shooting Star Road Tech Genius Expansion. This skill is, put blunt, terrible. The skill's second and third effects, well, not even third effect, it's just the second effect, can only be used once per turn and twice per duel. At the start of a duel, set 1 Starlight Junction from your deck to your field and send 1 Junk Converter from your deck to the graveyard. During this duel, you cannot summon any monsters except for Junk monsters, Synchron monsters, and Light or Wind Synchro monsters with 2500, 3300, or 4000 attack points. And the effect that's activatable once a turn and twice per duel. If the only monster you control is Stardust Dragon or a level 10 Synchro monster, play Formula Synchron or Tech Genius Recepro Dragonfly from outside of your deck in face-up defense position. Whew boy. First things first. At the start of your first turn, set 1 Starlight Junction from your hand or deck to your field, and send 1 Junk Converter from your hand or deck to the graveyard. For every card played or sent from your hand by this skill effect, draw 1 card. During this duel, you cannot special summon any monsters except for Junk monsters, Synchron monsters, and Light or Wind Synchron monsters with 2500, 3000, 3300, or 4000 attack points. Second one is that if you control Stardust Dragon or a level 10 Synchro monster, no longer needing to be the only monster you control, play Formula Synchron or Tech Genius Recepro Dragonfly from outside your deck to your field in face-up defense position. So, having it no longer being required as the only monster you control, and also allowing access to stuff like Stardust Warrior, Stardust Chronicle Spark Dragon, Crystal Wing, would instantly really help the skill out a lot. It would give it at least another interaction if absolutely necessary. Not the greatest thing in the world still. It's still pretty bad, honestly, because it's over-reliant on Junk Synchron. But at least you're not helpless going second. At least you have more ways to actually play. And your extra deck gets a little bit more versatile. There's not much else I can really ask for. But now, Stardust Acceleration. This skill, by comparison and just in general, is the best skill on Yusei by far. There is no debating this. You can use the skill's second and third effects once per duel. Your extra deck contains Stardust Dragon. First effect is just the restriction. You can't special summon any monsters from your extra deck except for Warrior, Junk, or Synchron monsters and when they're light monsters of the level. Second effect, reveal a Synchron monster in hand and shuffle a card from hand into the deck. Then add on your market set duel from deck to hand. Third and final effect, send the card from hand or field to the graveyard. Then outside of your deck, play Wheel Synchron, add Shooting Star Dragon, Junk Destroyer, Junk Archer, Junk Warrior, Stardust Warrior, and Jet Warrior to your extra deck, and send Formula Synchron, Sonic Chick, and Speed Warrior to your graveyard. These 3 monsters can also be special summoned. I'm only changing one thing. As I've mentioned many times, Junk Archer, gone. We are replacing this with Junk Speeder, because Junk Archer never comes up. The way I see it is, if you're using this, you're normally doing either Junk Synchron on level 4, which means you're giving up Herald of the Arclight, and why would you do that? Or you're having to use Wheel Synchron's Banish effect for level modulation. At that point, you're already doing that for an unaffected Quasar on their turn anyway. So what does it matter? Additionally, like, you have other plays you can make for Wheel Synchron that are just more beneficial. So again, Junk Archer is never going to come up. So why not replace this with something that will? And it's the perfect way to add Junk Speeder to the game while keeping it skill locked so somebody like Sherry can't abuse it. Because otherwise Synchron de Fleur would actually be a thing. no other things really to change. This skill is really good. And I would say the same with Assault Star Acceleration as well. This is probably the second best skill right now. Although I do need to talk about this with Assault Archfiend Acceleration together, because I want to differentiate the two, so this will come with a small nerf. You can only use the skill's second and third effects once per duel. First effect is just a little bonus. You can normal summon one monster that mentions Assault Mode Activate in addition to a normal summoner set per turn, and can activate Assault Mode Activate from your hand during your turn, but you cannot synchro summon level 9 or higher synchro monsters except for dragon monsters. Second effect. Reveal one Assault Mode Activate or one card that mentions it in your hand, then shuffle up to 2 cards from your hand to the deck, draw the same number of cards. Third and final effect, if only your opponent controls a monster, play a Stardust Dragon or a Junk Archer from your extra deck and face down to its possession, its battle position can be changed. So, here's the thing. I am okay with most of this, but in order to differentiate the two, I want to add one extra restriction to both Assault Star Acceleration and Assault Archfiend Acceleration. For Assault Star Acceleration, you cannot normal summon monsters, except for monsters that mention Assault Mode Activate, as well as Machine type or Warrior type monsters. And for Assault Archfiend Acceleration, monsters that mention Assault Mode Activate, and Fiend or Dragon type monsters. This way, we're not playing Red Dragon Archfiend with Assault Star Acceleration, we're not playing like the Speedroid stuff with Assault Archfiend Acceleration, we are just playing basically the way these things were intended, to be used for Stardust Dragon Assault Mode or Red Dragon Archfiend Assault Mode. And that's perfectly fine. Second, if only your opponent controls a monster, play Stardust Dragon or Junk Archer from the extra deck, or in the case of Assault Archfiend Acceleration, Red Dragon Archfiend or Scarred Dragon Archfiend, that's all well and good. But I do want to add one more to each of these. First up, for Jack, Starlight Red Dragon Archfiend. That would make so much sense for a way for him to force interaction. Why can't he just do that? Furthermore, for Yusei, Junk Warrior. This might sound weird, but Junk Warrior Assault Mode would be great to add for support for Yusei. We just got it revealed over in the OCG not long ago. So hey, would be a cool new way to prepare for Junk Warrior Assault Mode. Now, why am I not doing Crimson Blader in response to that for Crimson Blader Assault Mode? Crimson Blader's a floodgate with Assault Mode, and we don't want that whatsoever. Just saying. So, that's actually a way I think we could actually differentiate the two out a bit more. But also for the first effect that we can activate. Reveal an Assault Mode Activator or a card that mentions it. Place up to 2 cards from hand on the bottom of the deck and draw the same number of cards. So say you draw your Stardust Dragon Assault Mode or your Assault Mode Activate, you're guaranteed not to see those cards again. You're guaranteed to get into something you need. True, that would mean you would also have a chance to draw into them if you didn't see them, but the chances of seeing them is a bit higher than you think sometimes, I swear. Either way, yeah, that's actually interesting. Maybe we could probably prepare for Junk Warrior Assault Mode as well. And lastly, Starlight Drive. This skill is honestly kinda bad, if I'm being real with you. You can use each of the skill's first and second effects once per turn and twice per duel if your deck contains 7 or more tuner monsters. First effect, if you control Stardust Dragon, set 1 shooting star from outside of your deck. This can be activated same turn. And if only your opponent controls a monster, play Stardust Dragon from your extra deck and face down to its position. Battle position can be changed. Then, you can send 2 random level 2 monsters from your deck to the graveyard. So, let's get this out of the way right now. Once per turn, twice per duel. Who even cares? It's such a basic skill. The restrictions are like pointless. Once per turn is fine. First thing to talk about with that effect, though. If you control Stardust Dragon sending Shooting Star, that's fine. The main thing I'm worried about is, if only your opponent controls a monster, play Stardust Dragon from your extra deck face down. I don't think it needs to be face down. It's Stardust Dragon. What's it gonna do? Considering other skills are getting free board breakers for so much as going second, and Yusei is requiring to flip his face up so you can just immediately remove it from the field before it gets a chance to do anything, like, what even? I mean, sure, the threat of Stardust Dragon being there, meaning you get the free Shooting Star, means you can still force an interaction. That's all well and good, but just saying. Then you can send 2 random level 2 monsters from your hand or deck to the graveyard. For every card sent from hand, draw 1 card. And also, I don't think it necessarily should be random. I think you can at least send one from, any from deck are chosen at random, but the ones from hand you can freely choose. So kind of like a reverse Trishula banish, if that makes sense. Send up to 2 random level 2 monsters from hand or deck, cards from deck chosen at random, to the graveyard. Again, for every card sent from hand, draw 1 card. Simple consistency boost, but honestly, it feels like it's kind of necessary, considering you would draw in your level 2s so freaking often. The amount of times in test hands I have drawn Plague Spreader Zombie, it blows. It really blows. But with that, that's basically all I can say for buffing each of Yusei's skills. Some of these probably wouldn't really do anything, like shooting Star Road, maybe shooting Star Road Tech Genius Expansion, but others would be consistency improvements that are sorely needed. I think the main ones that are going to still not be used whatsoever are the original shooting Star Road Tech Genius Expansion, and a Bond Eliminates the Future. Meanwhile, Stardust Acceleration gets a massive consistency boost, same with Starlight Drive, and Assault Star Acceleration and Assault Archfiend Acceleration both get a consistency boost, while also being a little bit more differentiated from each other. And honestly, that's kind of what I'm hoping for with these skills, just buffs that really help their consistency, while in the case of Assault Star and Assault Archfiend Acceleration respectively, being a little bit more different from each other, even if it does mean a small nerf. It's not much of a nerf, mind you, because we can still do the Speedroid stuff with Yusei and the RDA stuff with Jack, but that's honestly kind of like the way it should be. That little bit of extra help that helps it out, but prevents it from being able to use so much unintended stuff. Like, why is Assault Star Acceleration using the RDA cards? That makes no sense. Anyway, that's all I really have to say for this fun little video. I want to know what you guys think. But with that said, until the next video, whatever it might be, later guys.